Alright guys, welcome back. So let's talk about another concept, which is the flow controls. Two loops, for loop and while loop. They can be used to loop through a list. So let's try that. If I want to print out all the atoms in the name, I can actually do this for name in names, and then I can print out the name. Okay, if I do this, you can see I'm printing out Max, Amanda, Sam, and Toad. Okay, so this is for loop. One thing you probably are noticing is that this little gap here, this is a indentation. You can do that yourself by hitting the tab button on the keyboard. Okay, and this is important because if you don't have that indentation here, this print will not belong to the for loop. Okay, so here if you also have like a print here, let's say print a comma here, you run this, you can see a comma right in between. But if this print doesn't have the indentation, you run this, you can see only a comma got printed at the very end. So this is basically a scoping. Okay, so this print with this indentation indicates that this print is the body of the for loop. So when the for loop is running, this print belongs to the for loop, and it's gonna run if the names have, like in this case, 4 atoms, right? It's gonna run the body of this for loop 4 times, and every time the name will be equals to those different atoms. So the first time name here or here will be equals to Max, and next time it's gonna be Amanda until all the way down to Toad. Okay, so it's gonna go loop loop through every atom and call print that many times, and every time the name will be one of the values from the beginning to the end. Okay, so this is for loop. And again, if you don't have the indentation, then this one, for example, does not belong to the for loop. Okay, all right, and another one we can talk about is the while loop. While loop uses conditions, so you can say while, let's create a number here, index equals to 0, and we can say while index is smaller than 10, we can do like print index. Now if you run this, you can see, oops, yeah, it's gonna keep on going. Let's stop this because we didn't change the while. Okay, so what we need to do is here we can then make index equals to index plus 1. So index will increment, and we run this, you can see now we're going from 0 to none. Okay, so every time the while loop runs, again, you can see those two belongs to the while loop. Okay, so it's gonna go through the process first, right? It's gonna print out 0, and then index will be equals to index plus 1. This will also be run, and index is now 1, right? And it'll go back to here, and then it's gonna evaluate this and say, okay, so this happens actually in the very beginning. Okay, so what this does is basically when while started, it's gonna say, okay, is this correct? Is this true? And in this time, index equals 0, so 0 is smaller than 10, so this is correct. So while loop will go and go through the first loop, and you can see after the first loop, index will equals to 1 now, right? And then it's gonna go back, and before it runs the body again, it's gonna actually evaluate this one more time and see, okay, is index now smaller than 10, which it still is, right? 1 is still smaller than 10. So let's do this again. So it's gonna go through this body of while loop again, and index will increment by 1 again. And by the way, this can also be plus equals to 1. And this is also going to increment index by 1. So the next time index will be equals to 2, and go back again before running the body. Try to evaluate this, and you can see now 2 smaller than 10 is still true. So again, there is a goal, right? So you go through this again and increment index to 3 all the way until index equals to none, and 9 is still smaller than 10, so it's happy and keep on going. But after that the index becomes 10, right? So 10 is smaller than 10, so this will be false, and the while loop will say, okay, this is false now, let's move on. So it's not going to loop anymore, and it's going to move on to the new line. Okay, and we can even print out the index here. You can see we're getting 10 eventually. Okay, and you can even type in like while true here, right? And if you're doing it now, it's going to be dangerous. If you run this now, you can see it's going to keep on incrementing to infinity. Let's stop this, because this will always be true no matter what. So to keep that from happening, you can also say, okay, if index is bigger than 10 already, then let's do a break. Break is a powerful tool. This statement will basically say, okay, let's break out whatever loop I'm in. So this break will actually take care of the stopping of this loop. Now if we run this, you can see it stops at 10 because index equals to 10 now. And if the next time index incremented to 11, this will be true, and the break will be called, and it's going to break out the while loop. Okay, so this is used when you are not quite sure how much you want it to go, until you want to wait until for some condition to be true, and then you break it. Okay, so this is also widely used. All right, for loop and while loop, very important concept. They're used for doing to loop through like a list or do something until something different happens. All right, so that's gonna be those two concepts. Let's move on to the next video.